Okay, I think we're here. So I'm Mike London, and I'm visiting with artists who work here in the Miami Valley. Culture Works supports so many arts organizations and artists, and this series of interviews is a chance for us to get to know some of them. So right now, I'm talking with Elizabeth Ram. See, I said I would do it real easy. Elizabeth Ramsey. There, I think I beat you on that one, and now it's your turn. So we're
Hi.
a dancer, but beyond that, I'm not going to do much definition. So tell me, how do you see yourself as an artist?
Um, well, I see myself as a dancer. More recently, I see myself as a teacher as well. I see myself as a creator. My journey into calling myself a creator was kind of me fighting myself on that for a while. My teachers growing up were really pushing me in the direction of creation, and I was like, I don't know, I don't think I'm good at this. And they were like, well, we like what you're making. And I was like, well, maybe I can do it, but I don't know if I like it. And then in college, I started to hone that a little bit more. And now that I'm 4 years post college, I think that I would definitely call myself a dancer, teacher, and creator.
Yeah, choreography is becoming an interest.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Um,
when you think of yourself though as a dancer, Elizabeth, why do you think you're a dancer and not a painter or a singer, or what is it about dance? What's that connection for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I have a true appreciation of all forms of art. So the fact that I was drawn specifically to dance, I think that it has so much to do with the movement aspect of it. And I think that my body has always been drawn to movement ever since I was young, really, really young. Um, most like a lot of dancers say that they didn't start until later in life when they were like mature enough to make the decision, oh, this is what I want to do. But my body was kind of moving before I even knew what that meant, I
Mhm.
think. And I was in middle school when I told my parents that I was serious about it and I wanted to pursue a career in dance. And they were like, there are a lot of reasons why we would recommend that you maybe choose a career in something else, but we'll support you. Um, and through dance, I have just found liberation. Through movement, I found liberation, and I love using my words, but I find that it's easier to express myself through movement, and it's quite satisfying to see how the body changes as a result of movement, and how the muscles change and stamina changes as a direct result of the expression. And there's um, it's allowed me to become a more conscious human in my everyday life, interacting with other people and interacting with family members and friends, and to have developed such a mature sense of body awareness, I think has done a lot for me, as a human, and I feel very grateful for that.
I'm curious, you're working here in Dayton. So first of all, tell me about your work here in Dayton. Why are you in Dayton working and not in Chicago, or not from your hometown in Toledo, or from, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Why are
yeah,
you here?
that's a good question.
How'd you get here?
It was a series of no's. It was a long, long series of no's that led me here. I thought that I wanted to be a ballerina. I grew up classically training. The modern came much later. The contemporary work came later. And so auditioning for colleges was a sad experience because I wasn't getting into the schools that I wanted to go to. I wasn't getting into CCM. I wasn't getting into Butler. I wasn't getting into these ballet programs. And that made me so sad. And it was, around the April time, college auditioning is over. So I was getting acceptance letters to the school because my grades were great, but the programs were like, sorry, you're not a good fit for us. So out of desperation, I auditioned for Wright State. My mentor, my old high school teacher, she graduated from Wright State, and she didn't have a single bad thing to say about the program. She loved it. She sends her students there all the time. And I was like, well, I don't really want to go there because I want to study ballet. Like, I don't need the versatility training is what I thought. So, those no's led me to Wright State. And then I auditioned for DC-DC2 and I got another no. And I was like, man, I can't catch a break. Like, I just wanted to dance as much as I could. And I was just getting these no's. And so once I got my no from DC-DC2, I showed up and I took class with the second company. And the second company director was like, okay, come on. Come on in. You can come. It's fine. So I completed my degree from Wright State and completed my training with DC-DC2, and I auditioned for the first company, and they gave me an apprenticeship position. And I was like, well, I don't really know if I'll be satisfied with an apprenticeship position. I don't know if I'll be financially stable with that type of position. There were a lot of fears surrounding that. So again, I started reaching outside of Dayton and saying, well, what is there out there for me? Where could I see myself? Could I see myself moving to New York? Could I see myself just picking up and starting anew? And I ended up deciding to take the apprenticeship, partly based because of the no's again, but also because I kind of just wanted to see where it was going to go. And I love DC-DC as a company. I loved the opportunities that the company provides. And so I said, let's just see where this goes. And on my first day of work, Debbie offered me the full contract. She said, I want to give you an opportunity to join the first company. So this is what that means, and this is what that will mean for you and moving forward. And the rest has been history, I guess. All the no's have just led me here. So sometimes the path is very clear cut, and sometimes the no's act as like bumpers to kind of just like push you where you need to be,
And what's the experience like dancing here?
Humbling. It's definitely humbling. It for me it goes far beyond dance to dance in this company. It's become an act of civil service. It's become research in so many aspects of my life. It means everything.
Wow. I'm curious, when you've had an opportunity to dance, if you will, under a number of different choreographers, and I'm curious who you've had the experience with that was just so exciting and surprising.
That's a good question. I think working with choreographers is great and a really fun thing to think about. But I think also parallel to that is the experience that happens maybe simultaneously to the experience of working with a choreographer. And I think what's jumping out at me is my experience. It was my first season, and I was really struggling with feeling like, do I belong here? Would my spot belong better to a Black woman or a woman of color? Why am I here? Why is my voice in this company important? And because I was having those seriously difficult conversations with myself, I found myself stepping back to give others a space to dance and to shine. And I wasn't really fighting for anything. And we had a choreographer come in. It was Ray Mercer, and he set a brand new work. And so, I mean, it's always great having new work set on you, because it's like it's your body, and you get to be a part of that process, and it's very, very exciting. And that was the first moment that I can remember feeling like it wasn't Elizabeth the white dancer in the Black company. It was Elizabeth the dancer, and I was fighting for it, and I was hungry for it. And I remember Ray saying something along the lines of like, I wasn't looking at you initially, but like you look really good. And it's a female trio, and I was doing that material and I was like, wow, this feels so good. I feel like I'm having this euphoric experience dancing this choreography. And because I was just enjoying the movement, he was able to see me for who I was. And I think that was a really important moment in my career at DCDC. And it kind of showed me a lot of things.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So who do you, we've all had these experiences of working with people that, you know, drive us crazy, and others that we love, and then they go away and we miss them. And who are some of the special relationships that you've had dancing? I mean, who have you had a chance to dance and work with?
Yeah, it's hard to lose people that you love dancing with. Company members come and go, and you just you want to hang on to those good moments that you had, because being on stage with someone it's not the same as just going to dinner or hanging out. Like that's a really, really special moment that you can share. So it's hard, and you appreciate those moments. Sometimes Debbie brings old dancers back, and it's like,
Yes.
wow, it feels like such a gift to be back on stage with you, like, or on stage with you the first time. Like, I've had mentors that were teachers that I ended up getting to dance on stage as peers and as equals. And that's always just like a really, I mean, it's an amazing experience, because it's just an interesting thing that not many people get to, experience. And then on the other hand, there are people that it's like maybe a choreographer comes in and it's like, I'm getting as much as I can out of this experience, and at the end of the week, when it's time for you to go, I'll just wave and say thank you for coming.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways, but regardless, the dance space is such a sacred space, and the family that we've created and cultivated at DCDC, we are a family. It's a very, very sacred space. We cry together, we pray together, we like it's just so special. And so when a new person comes into that space, good or bad, or neither, it can just be an experience, a vulnerable experience of opening ourselves up and opening and sharing our space with this person, and allowing them to take over the room and and make their energy the loudest. That can be a scary thing sometimes, but it can also be a very rewarding thing at the same time, and that's where the growth comes from.
Tell me, I think a number of viewers who are familiar with DCDC, I think might have a question for you that I'm going to ask, and that was, what's it like having worked with Sherry?
I mean, I couldn't sum it up in one or two words. It's a gift. It's absolutely a gift, and I don't think that it is. We're all aware that we're the last group of dancers to uh, be able to share the stage with her in the capacity that we've been able to. So that in itself is not lost on us. It's a huge deal, and to have her be such a prominent force in the rehearsal space, it's big for us, because she is such a holder of information, so when she is like removed from the space, and the company goes on and lasts another 50 years, and Sherry is no longer a part of that constant space. I mean, oh, I'm so sorry. Phone's ringing. I would hope that DCDC, and I know that DCDC will be able to continue the tradition of keeping the root of works alive, and keeping and holding on to the things that make it important. And each dancer, it's each of our jobs to carry that on. But Sherry truly is like the keeper of the keys, in the sense that, she can speak to a rehearsal process and say, this is what was important to the choreographer, whether the choreographer is still with us on this earth or not. And so her voice has become very important to just keep the sanctity of what the art is alive, because anytime you bring up an old work, excuse me, it's our job to keep it as true to the form as it is. It's not like you can go look at the Mona Lisa and it's the same, you know. It's new artists painting the same painting over and over again, and they want to put their spin on it. And as dancers, we want to live and breathe inside of it, but also hold true what the original intent for the piece was. And so to that point, having Sherry in the space is just, it's crucial, especially because it's something that DCDC just prides itself on, is, you know, your work is safe with us, and we want to keep the integrity of that alive. So there's that aspect of it. And then there's the aspect of just working with Sherry as a dancer, and the expectation that she's created in the space. And I think that a lot of older dancers will bring up this conversation of, you know, younger dancers don't like to work as hard, and, you know, technology has done X, Y, and Z to the dancers, and there's, you know, there's a different type of work ethic in the room. And whether that's true or not, Sherry doesn't really allow as much space for that. Like she pushes us, and she trains us, she trains our bodies, she trains our minds, she reminds us. And so there's this sense of, and it's what I love about a dance studio, there's this sense of old school meets new school. And this is the expectation in the dance room. This is the expectation in the studio. You come in and you're respectful, and you treat your elders with respect, and you come in and you work hard. And having her in the space is just a really good reminder of, you know, this is the way that it was, and this is what made DCDC so successful, and we want to make sure that we're doing our part to propel the company into the future another 50 years.
Where do you hope to be in that future? What do you see for yourself in the near future?
I see myself settling into my artistry more. It's being a young dancer is hard, I think, for me, because on stage you want to be a woman, and you want to present yourself as, I'm confident, I have it all together, I'm able to tell this story. And then sometimes off stage I don't always feel like that. I feel in many ways still like a young woman that's growing and figuring a lot of things out. And so in my coming years, I really hope to just continue to settle into that version of myself that I want to be on stage and off, and just being a more grounded individual, and not shaken by things that maybe are meant to try to shake me and rattle me. Practice confidence, practice just developing my voice, continue to hone my creative voice. And I mean, I would love to set a piece on the company. I've gotten to set set 2 pieces on the second company. Well, maybe 3. I've done a fair bit of work with the second company. And so it would be great to get to work with the first company as well. So I think that in the next 4 or 5 years, if that could happen, that would also be a really awesome experience.
That's great. What about teaching? Do you see teaching as a part of your future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great way to market yourself as an individual in this field. Sometimes it can be hard to find gigs to dance at in our off season, but it's not as hard to find gigs teaching. And as I said before, there's this mentality in DCDC that we want to hold sacred the things that have always been with the company. So when it comes to teaching, you know, teaching under the DCDC name or not, with the DCDC stuff in my tool belt, it's a really beneficial class. And I think that through teaching my students, I've seen what I can offer and how important that is and how much they've grown. And so I get really excited about sharing what I've learned since becoming a professional with students of all ages and students of all abilities. So I definitely think that teaching is another thing that I want to continue to hone and continue to practice, and see where that takes me as well.
Wow. Elizabeth, thank you so much.
You're
It's
welcome.
just so good.
Thank you.
As I told you before, when we've talked, I've seen you perform for some time, and I've enjoyed it. You have that incredible line. It's delightful. So thank you for today,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for sharing this with others. Um, Everybody that is watching, we want them to know what Culture Works does, and Culture Works supports arts organizations and artists like you throughout the Miami Valley. And what you do and what DCDC's been doing for 50 years is it's just indispensable to who we are as a community. You really help to make our community. For anybody watching, if you want to know more about CultureWorks, just head to the website at cultureworks.org. That's cultureworks.org. Head to the website, become a donor, become a passport member, get your buy one, get one free tickets to DCDC. I think when I came to the last concert, my daughter came with me, and we have these nights out kind of thing. And when I called her, and she knew it was time for one of our evenings out every few months, and she said, "Well, what do you have in mind, Dad?" And I said, "DCDC," and she just lit right up, and I was like, "Well, I think I nailed that one down fine."
I
So
love
it
that.
really does. It brings a lot of joy what you do. So I hope that the viewers that are listening to this and watching, go to cultureworks.org, become a passport member, and support the artists like Elizabeth here in the Arts Organization. Elizabeth, thank you so much for this.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate it. And hopefully the next time we won't be in this COVID pandemic kind of phase, and we can talk and face to face and all of that.
I would love that.
That would be great. It's good to see you,
It's good to
and
see
we'll
you. It's
talk
good to
again
meet
soon.
you.
All right, take
Sounds
care.
good.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Thank you.